Okay, stream is on. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Tech Down Over. This is our pre-show, and we have no planning for the pre-show, so it is what it is. Jeff's right over here with me, and we already had one Skype little issue, but I think we're good now. He changed his location. Are you upstairs or downstairs?
Upstairs.
You put a green screen up.
Yep.
Okay. That's it. Because I was going, wait a minute, you're downstairs.
Hey?
That's pretty good. It looks good.
What I've managed to do is so I don't have to move the computer around. The only thing I just don't know whether the sound is as nice because there's not as much treatment up here.
Sounds good.
Yeah, okay. And I put I've got one of the Afexes under this.
Okay.
So I've found a use now. I've got two areas to use the two Afexes.
Well, you've heard that Afex, that one guy from Afex who's doing a settings tutorial in the middle of a trade show with about 1,500 people running around, and he sounds great. It's amazing. And it took me a year and a half to figure out how he did that.
Well, I've got that video on permanent thing to go back to see his settings and keep going back every now and then. So.
It's a good one. Afex will probably delete it one time just to spite us. It's like, let's see what they can do without this.
I might try and see if I can get a capture of it and keep it myself.
I did get that art preamp working, and the it's a compressor limiter gate and I guess a preamplifier of sorts. It's nice. It has a really good sound to it. It took me a while to figure out that I had my mic backwards, but once I got that going, life was pretty good. So,
same about the settings for the Afex. If you ever get into trouble, I took photos of your settings when I was there.
Yeah.
So I forgot when it was perfect. So just in case.
It's funny. Well, I got my original settings from. Who did I get them from? Name is just on. I don't know why. I'm bad on names. He had. What was it called? He had podcast something or other originally, but new media gear.
Oh, okay.
He was great. I love the guy. We're good friends. I can't remember his name. This is just good.
Not Tom Sinclair? Not Tom Sinclair?
No, not Tom.
Stephen?
No. This is way before. This is like 7-8 years ago. And I haven't talked to him in probably 3-4 years, which is probably why I'm skipping on names. I'm so bad. But a lot of people think, you're forgetting your name. You're getting old. You're senile. No, I did this at 19. Names have always been bad.
It's amazing that when you do think back, and then all of a sudden you remember somebody and you think, as far as my mind's concerned, they were out of my brain totally.
Yeah, no.
It's because you just live in the moment these days. I think that's the problem.
And I am picturing him in my mind. I can picture him perfectly in my mind. I picture this show, New Media Gear. That was the name of the podcast. And, man. It's so sad. It
will come to you.
It will. I'll scream it out at that moment.
Up, you'll forget.
Yeah, at that moment, I'll just scream it out in the middle of nowhere, probably. And people go, what do you... I just remembered his name.
That will upset your wife when you just scream a man's name out in the middle of the
night. Yeah, probably. Not in California. But anyway. So I will show you the new camera I got soon. I'll do it on the actual show. I bought a new camera. He doesn't know what brand or what I got, so this will be interesting. In fact, we'll probably show you some pictures of it. No, I'll show you the pictures after I tell you what it is. I just took some. We only got it yesterday. We haven't had much time to really play with it, but it's pretty cool. It's surprising. I didn't think it was going to be what came in, so that was actually my first surprise. And the second surprise is the quality is actually pretty good, and a lot of the people who complained about it, so far I'm not seeing it. I'm finding it pretty clean, both video and photos. So it's pretty cool. Mark Jensen.
Oh God, Jensen!
It came. Mark Jensen. How can I forget Mark Jensen? My God, he's a big, lovable teddy bear. He's 6'5" or 4", big teddy bear guy. He's wonderful. He's actually he was really my mentor for many years on audio. He knows everything down to the that has 220 ohms of resistance. That's more than I need to know. No, but he's very, very techy. And he also came from a database background like I did. He used to work for Oracle for many years.
Oh.
And I think 15 years at Oracle. But his true love is radio and broadcasting. That's what he's done forever. And he loves doing it. So, but Mark Jensen, he's the one who told me, get an Aphex. And I took his settings. They didn't work for me. We have just different enough voices that mine didn't come out well with his settings. It took me a year to get that Aphex to work right. I mean, one whole year, I just kept not getting it right. Felt like an idiot. But because I've gotten other compressors, but that one for some odd reason took longer. The ART would have taken really short, except I had my mic backwards for 4 days, 3 days. That's going. And it was the Shure KSM 42, which is a very nice mic, but it kind of looks the same from both directions. There's a logo pointing backwards, and I thought the logo was pointing at me, so that was the only mistake. And it recorded me, just not that well. I kept thinking the mic had no power.
Okay.
Okay, so we're ready to start? Let us start. Are you ready to count down? Yep. All right, so here we go. In 3, 2, and 1. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tech Down Over. I'm joined today by my good friend and co-host, Jeff Blanchard. Jeff, how are you?
Good, thank you, Rick. Very excited this week. Some new releases in the Canon world that we'll talk about in the show.
Yeah, they should be really good. Let's get going. We're back. And Jeff, I've kept you in the dark for what, 12 hours or something like that?
12 hours, that's right.
We do that to each other. He'll buy something in Australia and say, I just got something really nice. What'd you get? I can't tell you yet. So I've learned to do the same. It's fun because we both kind of know what we both want, but you never know what we're getting. That's the difference. Well, I got a camera. Okay, what camera do you think I got?
Well, I was thinking it would be the Canon 5D Mark IV, but I know it's not out.
Not out yet. Not even pre-ordered. Well, I sort of pre-ordered it, but that's not it.
Oh, well, then the second one I thought was the Sony A7 Mark II, but then I thought, well, you didn't really like that, so it wasn't that.
No, though these have something in common, and that would be size.
Oh.
But this has a better grip. Oh, heck. Let me show you. That's the lens. That's not it.
Let me get the camera instead of the lens.
There we go. You see Canon?
It's Canon, yes.
This is the Canon M3.
Oh.
The M3 has something that both you and I like, because we both like our Panasonics. And that is it's mirrorless.
Mm-hmm.
It's been out for a while, and I've read a lot about it. Mostly good, some bad, not really terribly bad, but it's a mirrorless camera. It has its own set of lenses, all 4 of them. I only got one. I got the kit lens, which is actually a pretty good 18 to 55 millimeter kit lens. And this thing takes pretty good pictures. I was actually surprised at the quality of the pictures. It has a flash, which is kind of cool. It's this weird looking.
It looks like an alien.
It looks like an alien, and it's funny. You can actually adjust it to point upwards by moving your finger.
Oh, that's actually good because there's very few of those pop-up ones that you can shoot up to the ceiling like you need to.
But you do have to hold your finger there, so that's kind of low-tech, high-tech. There's no other way to do it that we could figure out. So, yep. And everybody's saying, what a great feature. Okay. Either that or just a coincidence. And Canon went, yes, we did that on purpose. You never know. I got it. We have to have Rudy Winston on one day. He does a lot of the Canon marketing and videos, and he's very technical. We're going to invite him and see if he'll come on. And he can tell us, was this real or was it an accident? Tell us the truth. Come on. But it's got a little flash, but it does the job of simple fill. It has a screen. If you want to do a selfie, it comes up. And let me turn it on.
So it hasn't got quite the flip frame, but it's got the better.
So you can see yourself. You can see me now. So it's kind of cool. You could see what's going on. There's lights. You can see the lights. You can see what we're doing in our studio. I'll take a shot. Okay, so took a shot of that. And it does bend down to about 45 degrees. So you do get, actually you can go pretty far. Or you could put at different angles. It's not bad. I wish it went all the way, but it's not totally articulating. Menus are typical Canon menus. They're fairly easy to read. They're very easy to figure out, very quick. It shoots video, 1080p. Not bad. The video quality wasn't bad. I thought it actually looked pretty good. And the stills, it's a 24.4 megapixel camera. So
that's not too bad.
It is the equivalent sensor of something similar to a 7D Mark II, which is very good. Has Digic 6, not Digic 6 Plus, but Digic 6, which is not bad. It handles things pretty well. Small battery underneath, and then the SD card goes underneath as well. You have your typical tripod mount here, and not bad. It also comes with, let me turn this thing off. So that's that. It comes with, actually the kit. I got the kit at B&H. It came for $649. The camera, which used to be $800 by itself, or $850, and the Canon EOS EFS to M converter. Because the M is the mirrorless, and this converter is amazing. It's about a $99 or $125 converter, whichever one you get. They're both the same, so I haven't figured out what the difference is. Has a tripod mount, which you can remove, and I already put this on the 50 millimeter. This is the Sigma 50 millimeter. Beautiful. It worked like a champ. It looked great, and the focus was fast. I couldn't complain about the focus. It doesn't have the dual pixel autofocus, but it still has a pretty good focus. We did some test videos, and it wasn't lagging behind. It was keeping up. I mean, some people complained, well, it has a ton of rolling shutter. Okay, how often do you take video like this?
Yeah, well, that's honestly, correct. Yeah.
I mean, really, come on.
Yeah, and usually, if you've got rolling shutter, the panning's just too severe anyway.
Right. So
and a lot of the things I find in video, I try not to pan at all. I'll stop and take another shot or something like that, because I'm not a fan of panning. No,
I pan a little bit, but you really ideally want them to come at you rather than you go at them.
Now, Rick, with that Canon, you're saying it does have 3 separate lenses, a different lens mount, and then that little adapter allows you to put your
any EF or EFS lens you have
on. But it does have a separate one, like a separate M mount, does it?
Yes, this is an M lens. This right here, just like the Panasonics, is smaller. This is the 18 to 55 millimeter kit lens. Very nice little lens. It's an STM lens, so you've got the motorized movement, very smooth, very quiet. They also have a 70 to 200 lens, I think, and they have several others in kind of that range. So there's 4 different total lenses in this lineup. But, that's okay, because you do have that mount adapter, and now you have the full range of any Canon lens you want that works on this.
And is that Canon's only mirrorless?
It is their only mirrorless. They had another one, but it broke, so they don't use it anymore. But
so 7 years bad luck, so they don't do another one. That's right.
Yeah, that's the 7 years of bad luck. I think they're going on that. They're about 5 right now on bad luck.
But it's interesting. That same form factor looks quite similar to the Sony, though, doesn't it?
It does, because the Sony is small. Now, I went to Best Buy the other day, and I said, oh, look, they have an A7S Mark II. I picked it up. I could not, they had no grip whatsoever that was worthwhile. I couldn't get my hand in it because there was a big lens in it, so I'm going, well, this is really hard to hold. It was extremely uncomfortable to hold. I guess if it had a battery grip, maybe it'd be better. But to me, the Sony ergonomics are just horrific. I know if you're a Sony shooter out there, get over it. That's my opinion. I just don't think they're that good as far as ergonomics. It's a little bigger than this, but not by much. This I expected to be bigger, and it showed up this little teeny thing. But it's not bad, and it is mirrorless. So I wanted to play around with it. We did put one of the bigger lenses on it. Look hilarious because the thing is so small in the back of the big lens. So that was a little kind of funny. And then I held the A7R2. They had them at Best Buy too, and I just held it and I went, I'm getting a cramp. My hands were so tight together, and it to me it was very uncomfortable. If you have small hands, probably a great camera. If you have big hands, you're making a lot of ergonomic adjustments. I didn't care for that. So,
and the thing is, I just don't understand is I don't know why they don't make it just that little bit bigger, because anybody who's interested in that camera to do any decent sort of photography are going to put, like you just said, a decent sort of size lens. So
yes.
It doesn't really matter if it's twice as big.
No, and so you have this teeny camera with this huge lens, and frankly, most photographers that I know would like something a little heftier, because part of the reason the Sonys heat up is they're small. You're cramming a lot of stuff when you could have much better airflow. But I mean, they're clever. They're beautifully built. They have nice things about them. But yeah, I'm not a Sony fan at this point. I like them. They're okay. I've shot with them, but not. Yes,
it's very strange, because I'm sort of still pulled between the two worlds. I love my Canon gear, but still the specs and what the performance that's coming out of those Sonys is quite excellent. The picture quality and just doing the full frame video, 4K video, is excellent, whereas you can't do that on the Canon.
Well, you can.
Even on the new one.
Well, you can do full frame. It doesn't do 4K. Well, the new one does do 4K.
But it doesn't do full frame.
No, it does full frame.
It's got a 1.75 crop.
But what's odd is they do full frame in 1080p.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? Haven't figured that one out. Now, let's get to our major announcement today. Canon announced on the 25th, and it was the 26th, actually. Well, 25th for them, it was 24th for us. Canon announced the 5D Mark IV. And like somebody said in a B&H panel that Larry Becker was, by the way, if you haven't seen that one, it's a really good review or announcement. Larry Becker hosted 4 people, 2 well-known explorers of light from Canon. That's what that's what the title they get from Canon for being, master photographers. I love the title though, Explorers of Light.
Explorers of Light.
That's a great title. It's a great. What do you do for a living? I'm an explorer.
Of light.
Wow. Where? I have a light ship far away.
I have a torch and I walk around in the dark.
Yes. But it's a cool title. It really is. And these guys were great. They were. One was a wedding photographer. I think the other one was a landscape photographer. And so they're covering kind of a pretty large gamut of what the camera can do. And then you had Rudy Winston, who's always great. And I didn't catch the other guy's name, but he was very good as well. He was another technical guy from Canon. And they did a great panel. Larry Becker, as always, was perfect. He was great. He's a good representative for these kind of panels. And they were talking, one of the explorers of light said, it's not a revolutionary camera, but it is a great increment, great evolution of a very incredible camera to begin with. Do you realize the 5D Mark III sales are still higher than Sony sales?
Oh.
It's amazing. That camera still outsells Sony. So while everybody's saying Sony, Canon's still selling a lot of cameras to the professionals. So is Nikon. And they combined probably have a lot more than Sony does in terms of professional shooters, considering they've been around shooting for a lot longer. But the 5D Mark III is still amazingly popular. And people are buying them for, I think, under $2,000 right now. And they're still buying them.
Because it's still down good price as well now.
Yeah.
So it's when a new one comes out, it pushes the old ones down. But as I said, they're still churning them out. So there must be a market there for them still.
Yeah. And the 5D Mark IV priced at about $34.99, I think, about $3,500. It has the 4K. It has the Cinema 4K, so it will go up to 4096 versus, I think it does both. I think it does ultra high def and Cinema. A little odd that they chose that because the Cinema is more of a 17:9 aspect ratio. That's quite a bit wider. If they go with the 3840, then it's going to be ultra high def, and that's a 16:9 aspect ratio. So I believe it does that one too.
No, I was just going to say it does the 4096, but it does not do the 3840.
Oh, it doesn't at all.
No, because that was, if you a good review. I saw Tony Northrup did about a 40-minute review on it, and that's one of the things, because I said that's the format that YouTube used, so it would have been handy to have that.
Yeah, so now you've got a transcode. Yeah, so that's not good. I think I wish they would have done 3840 plus the 4096 like the Panasonic GH4 does. What I see in this is it's got some nice features. You do still have dual drives, your compact flash, and your SD cards. I heard, not sure how accurate this, haven't had a time to check it out, that it only uses compact flash 1 cards.
Yes, that's true. Which is fairly. And one of the funny things is, I was looking at the Tony's review, and that is one of the things they were saying. Well, why didn't you use the bigger, the latest, faster cards to it? Because one of the things on there with the 4K video with the codec they're using, if you film for an hour of 4K video on that camera, it takes up a whopping 226 gigabytes.
Oh, that's
1 hour
not
filming.
bad.
Where
That's
if you
pretty
do the
compressed.
same filming on a GH4, it's only 40 gigabytes.
Oh God.
So it said it's pretty useless to use as filming, really, if you're going to be using it for for a long time.
They have two. They have the what is it? An animated JPEG file or QuickTime animation file, which they're big. But I thought they also had is it MP4 or something else?
But it's just saying the standard format, it's just the compression rate that it records at. So then you would have to take that file and do something with it. But you still have to have a load of storage to use that.
Well, the good part is that they don't record 29 minutes straight.
Yes,
So now you're down 110 gigabytes. So that's quite a savings.
So you can only do what you've got, but your memory card's going to run out beforehand. But then again, you've got the dual, but as you said, it doesn't. It only has the Type 1, which seemed quite strange.
That's insane. Why would you do a Type 1? Okay. I love Canon, and sometimes I can't stand them. They just do some of the stupidest things. Why not put a CF2 card in there? That makes no sense.
That's what they said, when seeing it's got such big files and it needs that, why don't you use that?
However, you can also record the 4K to the SD card. You're not limited to compact flash.
No. And so like that one as well, it has the chip in it is the lesser one, so the 5D SR that you've got, that's got the better chip still. So.
Oh, really? Well, it's got a bigger chip. It's got the 50 megapixel.
Yeah, so that still is the better chip. But you do have the HD, the 1920 by 1080 at 30 and 60 frames.
Right, which is good.
But it does do the 120 frames per second, but it records it in camera as a slow motion. So
and that's at 720p.
Yeah, it's 720p. Yeah, that's right. And then it has a 30 frames a second for HDR with on the HD only though. So creates an HDR film setting on that, but seems very strange on that. And it has one of these funny features which sounds really great, the dual pixel RAW, which takes the 2 by 30 megapixel shots, and so you can adjust them later in post with the but after to adjust the focus if you want. But Tony was saying on that, he said the only problem with that is he asked how many people use Canon software.
No one.
No, well, that's what you've got to use that feature.
Yes, I know, because Adobe is not supporting it yet.
No. And as you said, so if you've made that decision to take your photos with that, the only thing that will read it will be that at the moment. So whereas everybody's using Lightroom, so you need it to really function in there
first. And then you're going to have a 60 megabyte file. They're big. That's going to be pretty big. Your cards are going to get consumed pretty quickly.
But it still has, at least it's got one of the good things that we want, like the touch screen. So it's got the touch screen.
That's nice. Not articulating, though. It's not articulating, but you can control it totally with your phone or tablet. So in essence, you can articulate it with your tablet. So that's good. There's some odd things. Yeah, they have 4K, but it's a little weird. They didn't put a compact flash 2 in, which is beyond weird. I mean, how many people use compact flash anyway? Not many. And they said the reason, and this is sort of really kind of a dumb reason, but they said, well, we did that because we wanted to make sure that all the old people who bought compact flash cards had the same one. That's a 4.5-year-old camera we're talking about versus a new one. Technology's improved. And Canon uses CFast cards in everything. Why not move it up? Or at least use compact flash 2 like the 7D Mark II. I don't get it.
I'll tell you what it has done, though. I know I haven't physically seen it, and nobody's seen any proper footage of it yet. So I'm not going to downgrade it until I've seen the quality of it. But by the sounds of it, it's really pushing me towards the 5 DSR that you've got, because it just makes that one look so much better.
But the 5 DSR has issues too, because it's not truly a video camera. If you'd want to do video,
No.
It's a beautiful stills camera. But if you want to do more video, you don't have the headphone jack. You'd have to work around options for doing that, which you can do. You can measure, your input before it gets into the camera. You're not going to get the input out. That's the only problem. But I guess you could, because there's no headphone jack. Why? Why do you make a $4,500 camera and leave out a headphone jack? Canon does some Capel. I was thinking of Apple and Canon both screwing people over.
Capel.
Yeah, Capel. Maybe they'll actually merge one day. Well, in the old days they were joking that FedEx and UPS were going to merge, and the new company was going to be called Fed Up. So
Fed Up.
never happened.
Well,
but Capel probably won't happen either. But Canon does things to protect themselves. So they won't put in the correct things because there's a camera upstream for another 10 grand that has that. But Canon, everyone else has the same thing at $1,000. So why are we protecting those high-end cameras when people really at $1,000 or $2,000 have some of the same exact functions? Almost everything that was on that 5D Mark II is something that was on the GH4 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago.
And the thing is, though, when people are paying that much for cameras in that full frame range, you've got specific uses for it. So if somebody wants to do high-end video, usually they don't care. They'll get the camera that does a good still, and they'll go out and buy a good video camera on that.
Right.
They did do a particular type of thing. That the 5D Mark IV. They're saying at the moment that it's not really a great video camera for somebody who's seriously into video. It's okay
really?
for the odd things, but if you're doing real serious wedding footage, I don't think it would do the good job for you.
Why not?
Well, it's just saying it doesn't have the capabilities, and with the storage, how many megabytes you need to store that video. Like on that one for an hour for 226, and as I said, even if it's only a half an hour bursts, you're going to have a huge amount of cards there for it, and like you said, in the type of cards you're going to use for it. But if somebody was doing that, you might get that as your stills camera, and it would do for some good video, but you would still probably need a proper video camera or something else like the GH4 or something that did it a bit better in the video.
So here's the logic issue behind what Canon did then. They left it at a compact flash 1 because they wanted to keep it compatible. But you have video that's so huge that you need really a compact flash 2 or a CFast card, and why? And you actually need an wait. What? Stop. Okay. Stop. Action. Stop. All right. Good. We're here. The output of HDMI is only 1080p.
Yes, that's right.
Now, how stupid is that? I can get full 4K out of my GH4. 422 full kick. I mean, why? I mean, it just makes no sense. So I'll probably get one of them, maybe not. I'm starting to think about it more, going, I don't know. It's nice. I have all the lenses I could use for it, but I don't know. Now we shot with the 5 DSR in an interview we did a couple weeks ago, and I thought it looked great.
That's what I was just going to say. Well, I'm getting more pointed towards that 5 DSR, because the reason I would want the camera is that 50 megapixel still shot. And like you say, you don't need it a lot of the time, but people who've had it like yourself, you said, once you've seen it and what you can do, the great shots you get, it's fantastic.
They're very nice.
And then I saw you do that interview with Giovanni with that camera, and that was fantastic. The quality on it just did such a good. The colouring was just. I've never seen one as good as that out of a camera like that. And I was really taken with that.
It looked good. It looked pretty much like he looked. So it didn't distort anything. It looked really clean. I was impressed. I mean, at the end, he was sort of getting sweaty from the heat and the lights and everything, and you could see it. It's like, he's sweating. But it did a really good job, and we were pretty surprised by it. I wish it had better like sound control and things like that. But Canon's a little weird. They always say, well, it's not a video camera. Then why the hell do you put video in it? The minute you put video in, guess what? It's a video camera. And this is where Canon gets a little screwy. I like Canon. I really do. I think they have good products. But they're just odd, some of the things they do. I don't know yet. I mean, the 5D Mark IV is getting people excited, but it's the same people who already are fans. They're already professionals. Right. They're not going to invest in another. They don't have a need, really. And let's face it, most people still are not shooting 4K much of anything. They're still doing 1080p on the whole, though with 4K TVs coming down in price. But you can always also upgrade it. You can take your 1080 footage and process it. Looks just as good in 4K. The TV, I've run 4K footage on 1080p footage on my 4K TV. I can't tell it wasn't shot in 4K.
No, it's fantastic. Some of the HD quality,
instant.
You really can't.
Yeah, it's instant.
Can't fault it.
Yeah, and the TV upgrades it instantly, upscales it on the spot. It looks amazing. So I don't think that's a real big issue. And the editing issue of, you get so much space. Yeah, but how often do you have to? Okay, when I do editing, sometimes you need to crop a little bit more or something, but not all the time. And again, it depends how well you shoot up front, so you don't have to deal with all that fixing later on. So that's that's part of it. I was going to show you some of the pictures. They're not great. They're just real quick shots of what we did with this little baby, the M3. Do you want to show some of those shots? Clark's going to put some of those on. Now, that was shot with the 50 millimeter, the one I have right here, at 50 millimeter, against the door frame, or against the door. No lighting other than what we had in the office suite, and that was it. The details are pretty good for a quick shot. I was probably about maybe 6 feet from her. If we go to the next one, that was just a shot in a conference room of a TV set, but that's the Windows interface that we were projecting. So we move on to something else, and that, and this is an IS lens, so it is stabilized. That's our sound. A little sound stuff. We move on. All of these handheld, nothing tripod mounted. It's pretty clean. We can continue.
Yeah, and I mean, even me looking through Skype, they look fairly clear. So if I saw them in person, you could certainly see how clear they would be.
Yeah, that's Clark with the 50 millimeter. That was with the Sigma.
That's not with the flash. That's with
with the little flash, just to get some fill light, because otherwise we were getting shadowing from the overheads.
That's why they were saying it does a good job. It doesn't,
No red eye. It looks good.
Doesn't blow out the face.
He didn't have a beard in real life, but it added it. That's really cool.
It just added that. It just puts extra character onto people.
It's a feature. It's one of the presets.
Yeah, that's right. But it just does such a.
But you can tell.
What I'm looking for is probably something. But does that have just a nice little lens on it as well?
It does. It has. This is the kit lens. You can replace this one with anything else, and all of the Canons, and shooting into sunlight, that wasn't too bad.
Because what I'm looking for is I'd like one similar to that, just so I could be nice and small, so I can take it around a little bit more. I don't like shooting on my phone. I like to have a proper camera. But then again, no matter how the GH4 type or the FZ1000, it's just a little bit big to take around, but just something to throw in the glove box of the car. So you've got a proper camera to do that, and that just looks like it does fantastic
Yeah,
job
and it was
for
pretty
that sort of
glary
thing.
outside. I mean, the sky wasn't that blue, and now here I think it was a little bit more. But
Now, is the controls easy enough? Is it the same sort of things for the aperture
very
priority
similar.
and
Yep,
the
very
shutter
similar.
priority?
Yep, very similar.
So not hard to
Now
change
this
the
was
settings out of
this was
automatic?
with the sun coming right through the left side of that structure, and it handled the lens flare incredibly well. That's using the kit lens because it was blinding to the eye, and the camera took it.
Yeah, that's really
And there
good
I was
shot on
about
that. So,
probably 70 feet, maybe maybe a little further.
so do you know on that one, because I saw on the new Canon, it's got the 61 auto focus points. How many focus points did that have?
Oh
Do you
gosh,
know?
you know what? I'm not sure. I think it was 40 something.
That's still not too bad, is it? So,
I want to say 49, but I'm not sure. I'd have to look.
It's just so clear, doesn't it? And it's focused in on that tree fairly quickly
Yes.
by itself.
And I think we have a video with the tree, but it's it might be a little bit jerky. But the video quality didn't come out too badly.
Yeah.
And just shooting around different things. I mean, that hallway that was at night, and the hallway came out pretty well.
Does a really good job. And as you said, though, something for that's, what was it, just under the
Now this one,
$700?
I like this one. This is just a shot of light. This is the light sconce and two lights, and the light looks very nicely textured. My ISO was 800. So not very high on the ISO, and it was pretty dark in that area except for those two lights. And that's just the single shot of it.
Yeah, but it doesn't do a bad job by the looks of it.
No, I was pretty impressed with the camera for a little, and it's like the old power shots. It's pretty small. That's what I didn't expect. I was expecting a bigger camera, and I go, this is small, but it packs quite a bit of power. And it is, I guess, the third generation of their mirrorless cameras. I was almost hoping they were going to come out with a wireless, a mirrorless full frame. That would have been really interesting.
Okay, back to the beginning.
Yep, and we're
So
back.
have you done video on it? So you said it does the 1080p
I have done
video.
some.
Is it 30 frames?
30 frames. I think it does 30 and 25.
Have you seen around, there's just quite a unique type of technologies out there. Have you seen the SD card that has a built-in gyro sensor?
No.
It sounds quite incredible. And what that does, when you do your filming on that, in the card, it automatically adjusts for the shake and rattle, and it processes it on the card. It's quite incredible how it does it. I just don't know how it works, but it's new technology. It would be interesting to see how far that goes.
It probably has to do the same thing that the Olympus does, which is pixel-based adjustments. And what they do is a couple of pixels each way. They probably have a 5-axis stabilization. And if it's on the card, it's got to be the same kind of thing, because now you've only got, there's no real working parts. So you're just adjusting pixels based on where the actual frame is, and it moves it up or down a couple pixels to make it look pretty stable. And they work pretty well. They're very fast.
And as you say, these were things, but this technology would be ideal for 4K because with it moving up and down, it keeps moving the frame, as you said, so you'll cut out a bit of the corner, so then you crop it so you get a perfectly still shot. But as I said, so you need that big area coverage for that. But I was just quite impressed with that technology.
Do we get a 5D Mark IV, or do we wait until the Panasonic GH5 comes out?
Well, I know what I'm going to do, because I thought I think I'll wait and see what goes on. Plus, also as well, if I wanted the 5D Mark IV, I'll just wait 6 months, because I'm not going to get it to the first one, because the price will be top dollar.
That's right.
Whereas in 6 months' time, if it's not as good as the sale, the price will drop, because, like you said there, it's about $3,500 for the body.
Yes.
They're advertising it here for a measly $5,091.
Oh, you're getting that. You're getting the import tariffs plus the 30% drop on the dollar, aren't you?
And you've got there's advertised in your place is with the 24 to 70 lens kit. They've got a kit lens. Well, a good
that
one
kit lens
with
is
that.
expensive, though.
And they do for 4,400.
Yeah, it's $1,000 lens.
And the same thing here is 7591 here.
Wow.
And then you've got the one with the 24 to 105, because they also release a new 24 to 105.
Well, they had to, because
lens.
their old 24 to 105 was a piece of junk.
Well, I've got that one. So
Do you like it?
I don't mind it too bad, but I think I don't have the full frame camera to see that
it got
not
rated.
doing a great job.
I never had the Canon one, but I know people who have, and they all hated it for some odd reason. I was like, okay. And I've seen reviews where they didn't like it that much. I have the Sigma 24 to 105. That one actually gets better reviews than the Canon one. Now, the new one looks like they did fix what they called issues in the old 24 to 105. Ideally, it's not a bad lens. It covers a wide range from pretty wide open all the way to pretty good portrait lens. So I think what the big complaint was, it didn't follow well for video. It really wasn't meant to be a video lens.
No, and that's right, and that's where I think I bought that one, because it was Ben Long used that one, and a lot of people did said that was a good all-rounder lens for photos. But and I've got it on the Canon 60D. That's probably why I don't mind it, because the 60D was woeful for doing video unless you're in a studio.
Yep.
So I never used that camera at all for video, so I never noticed the downfall of it. But I suppose if I get one of these new ones, at least I could try it out with my 24 to 105 and see how horrible it is, and then buy the new one. But I'm still with all these different things, when I still look at the Sony, I'm a bit like you. I don't like the form factor as much, but I'm just getting swayed with the quality of the pictures and the quality of the video.
They do look good. Though, I tell you, I don't know, I'm pretty happy with the Canon video.
Well, on that 1080p with that 5 DSR, that's why another thing that's sort of swaying me to that, because I want the full frame camera, and that HD was just so good, that would do me for that, because I've got a proper video camera, a high-end video camera if I do want that. So I don't have to have it perfect in that, but you can't say that the quality of that HD was degraded because you didn't use a 4K camera. It was fantastic. On the contrary, you could do that.
And also Nikon, even though Nikon doesn't really have any worthwhile 4K, their sensors and their lenses do a really good job on video too. When we had the D750, it took really nice videos. They were sharp.
And one of the big things as well, you're saying about sharpness, is the new 5D Mark IV has the anti-aliasing filter on it, which cuts down the sharpness.
I don't know
the
why
5 DSR
doesn't. That was sort of another bummer.
Which is, I don't know why anybody puts that on there anymore, because it just takes down the quality of everything.
But see, they didn't want to take it out because then they wouldn't sell the 5 DSR. I think Canon is stuck trying to protect itself from itself. So,
and like they said that anti-aliasing filter reduces that moire effect, but they said, who cares on that? It's, on still shots you don't usually get it. It's only on video a lot of the time, isn't it? And like you said with that rolling shutter thing with most people, if you know there's a particular thing, you just work around it a lot of the time. That rolling shutter, like you said, you don't keep going side to side all the time to make it do it. So.
We're gonna debunk rolling shutter right now. If you film like this, find another job.
That's you've got more problems than filming.
Rolling shutter is a problem at that point. Find another job.
But I don't. But see, the thing, I've got my old little Panasonic HD video camera down there, and if I pan and if I go slightly more, it gives me a warning. Oh, you're panning too fast.
Interesting.
It does. It gives you a little. And it's the only camera that does that. Whereas most of them don't, but it gives you that nice little warning. So I always see that when I'm quickly taking it down to the ground and forget to switch it off, and you see you're panning too fast because you just point it straight to the ground and say, "Oh no, I forgot to switch the camera off." But most people don't realise, and especially if you zoomed in any little bit, just that little bit of movement, they think they're just going nice and steady, but it's really quite fast.
Now we also have another addition in our studio.
Oh, a new clock. New clock is it's
See,
is that
nothing gets thrown away. This is the old Nexus 7.
Oh, okay.
Leslie doesn't want it anymore because she got a new Zen tablet. So it is now our huge clock application. It's called Huge Clock.
Huge clock.
I mean, I have giant clock on my my Note 7, but this is telling us we've got about 5 minutes left of show. But I thought it was funny. I had to show you that. And by the way, let's talk a little about Note 7.
Oh, Note 7, yes.
It's nice. It's very similar to the Note 5 in many ways. I'm kind of hating the screen a little bit because it is so sensitive. You don't even have to touch it, and the buttons fly sometimes. It's like, oh. It gets your electromagnetic energy, and literally it can fly. Not all the software, like some keyboards, don't seem to work really well on it. I spent 2 lousy hours trying to type in a password and name for this one app, and I finally gave up, thinking it was me and the pen and everything. No, it was the keyboard app. I went back to the default app, and it worked fine. But it's a very sensitive phone. It's nice. I had to get a case for it because otherwise it would be broken in about a day. It's so slippery. But it works nicely. Let me try to get this thing up.
Now, with that, Rick, you said it's got the fingerprint reader to switch it on as well, correct?
Yes, but I don't use that. It also has a retina scan.
What you should do is and I think that will work now with that, where you're saying with your passwords and that, I use 1Password, and you can set that up in there to work off your fingerprint. So when you go to your site, you find your password, just put your fingerprint on there, you'll be able to get into it much easier.
Yeah.
Because I just live and die by that fingerprint reader. I know I'll do the iPhone, but it's now that the Samsungs have the same quality. I think that's what put me off the Note 4, because I had to swipe it on the fingerprint reader. I couldn't just place my
never worked very well.
Can.
Yeah. Well, if you look at this here, I mean, it's a nice.
It is it's a
big,
lovely
nice.
phone.
It's got a beautiful screen. It's sensitive, and because it's got a curved edge, I had another reason I got the Trianium. This is the Trianium clear case for it. But now, because it goes up a little higher, my fingers don't wrap around and touch the edges. Otherwise, while you're doing anything, your finger will accidentally trigger all sorts of edge stuff. And
just saying, they're so nice and shiny. It's like trying to hold a fish in your hand.
Yeah, this is
if you don't have a case.
This is the coral blue. You can see the reflections as you go. But it's Gorilla Glass on both sides. It's very nice. I like it, but it's driving me crazy with keyboards and some other stuff. It's just a little too sensitive. Maybe they'll fix that. They've already had one upgrade for it, or update. So I'm not sure what it fixes. I haven't figured it out.
Now, does
yet.
that one still have? Does that have the built-in battery, or have they gone back to the separate battery?
No, it's built in, but it's a lot larger. It's about 30% larger than the previous one. So you get a full day easy of a lot of usage. So that's nice.
And the memory on it, does it have
4 gigs?
4 gigs, but the storage?
I think it's 32 standard, but then you have the SD card storage.
You do, because they took that out of the
I know,
5,
that was stupid.
They?
And I ordered the 256 gigabyte free. This was a promotion they were doing while supplies last. The free storage that gives you a micro SD at 256 gigabytes, which you can buy in the store for about anywhere between $100 and $250. But when you actually apply for it, you have to go online to the Samsung site in Korea, and you have to put in your MAC ID, your serial number, your user ID, blah, blah, blah. And then it says, congratulations, you qualify. And you get, so they say it will take 4 weeks to verify you. And then it takes another 8 weeks to ship it. And I was going, holy smoke. But we actually got verified in 4 days. There's only one little old Korean lady actually sitting in Samsung. And she goes, let me see. No. Deny. Next one. No.
No memory card for you.
She has a big deny button. Yeah. No SD card for you. Deny. But I think I got her in a good mood, or it was early in the morning. She goes, oh, okay, good. Next one. Deny. So,
But that's good because I mean, with those phones, they do so well for photos and video.
they do
Then
actually.
you've got decent storage. Then because I said the only thing I have with any phones is they do a great job. You just can't see what you're doing. But if you've got it set up correctly
Right.
on a tripod, and that you just sometimes people wouldn't know. You can say I filmed this with my video camera or my DSLR.
Right.
Nobody will know a lot of the time. They'll say, "Gee, that's impressive." And it's only when you say you've done it on your phone, people say, "Oh, that's not very good." But I know on my old Samsung, the Note 4, which I was just so impressed with the video, and so with the 7, it's bound to have improved even more.
It's a little bit
so,
better,
but it
they
was
said.
excellent, eh?
It's more like the Note 5. Actually, it's more like the Samsung Edge 7, which had a very good camera. I believe they share the same camera, and
Did they have a 6, or did it just jump to the 7?
they jumped to the 7 because they wanted to keep the Edge 7 Galaxy and this one on the same numbers because they got
Oh, okay.
because the 5 came out, but no Note 6 came out while the Edge 6 came out, and then the 7. So there were two Edges that came out for one Note. So this time they wanted to resync them for whatever reason. I don't know.
I must admit, it does confuse me a bit because when I say, "Oh, it's a Galaxy," but that's nearly everything. It could be called a Galaxy.
You know, you want to be confused. I don't know if you have Infinity in Australia, the car company.
We've just had them recently. They've just come out here the last few years now.
Well, that's good because they probably came out when they had already changed the model numbers. Everything now, and before they used to have the GS, the EX, the M, the QX. They had all these different numbers, FX. Now, everything is the Q, 50, 60, 70, and 80. Oh, what's the difference? Then you have the QX, 50, 60, 70, 80. So now nobody knows what anything is. And under those, you have variants. So do you want the Q80 with the 8-cylinder or the 6-cylinder? And it's just, I was looking at their website recently trying to figure out what is what. It's so confusing. And I think whoever came up with that, they probably killed them by now. But it was just bad marketing.
Yeah, I don't think they do as well as the others here because they've come late into the market. I think all the Lexus cars and that they've been there so long, they've got the market here, whereas
they're good
nobody
cars,
knows them yet.
They're good cars, but I don't know. Bad identification.
But as I said, that's with. I'm glad they've done that with the Samsung because it does make it a little bit easier if all the 7s are all in that same generation. But I was a bit confused whenever you talk about Samsungs because the Samsung just do so many of everything. Is that the tablet? Is that the phone? Or what is that? So I just happened the other day was helping somebody that was, I can't get my damn tablet to work, and they'd done something similar to you without actually thinking they'd turned off the Wi-Fi.
Oh,
because it's so easy to do sometimes.
It is.
When you're clicking on different things, and I said that's all you've done. Everything's fine. It's not your Wi-Fi. You just accidentally turned it off. So,
well, there's one button here that I find a little interesting on this camera, and I don't know if I can demonstrate it. Let's see. But if I'm holding the camera like that, sometimes my palm presses the menu button. So that menu button down in the lower right is kind of stupid. That's a dumb place to put it because when you have a big hand, and if I just act there, I go again. I pressed it by accident, or I don't know what I did.
Funny you should say that. Somebody was commenting about the Canon Mark IV with the touchscreen. What about, does your nose activate the touchscreen?
It probably would.
Because said nobody said, because all the other full frame cameras that's had that display haven't had touchscreen. It's only the 80D, whereas you usually close that off, don't you?
And what I have to admit, a regular viewfinder to me is useless. You can't see when you're changing your aperture, your shutter speed, or your ISO. You can't tell. How do you know what you've done? You don't. So why are we still putting regular viewfinders and cameras in today's day and age? Makes zero sense to me.
And there's the Pentax out there. So I think Tony was saying that has a hybrid viewfinder, which has the normal one, and it has the monitor in there. So the electronic viewfinder.
That makes more sense because I see no use in the other one. Zero.
Well, the thing is, you have to what they call chimping, isn't it? You have to take your shot and quickly have a look.
Yeah.
Whereas you don't with the one with the electronic viewfinder, because you can just see, you know what you're going to take, but you can just see it for a second in there. You don't need to, you know, if it's underexposed, because you won't be able to see it through the viewfinder. So
Now, if you're wondering why he called that chimping, it's because usually you go click.
I just like your. We should do a dictionary of the Rick's thesaurus of different terms and that.
Well, Jeff, we are at the end of our time. It is according to Huge Clock. It is 3:53 or 15:53 p.m. That means about 7 minutes to 4 p.m. in Pacific time, and that's a day and a half your time, basically 17 hours, I think.
Yep, I think it's around about 17 hours because it's 8:53 in the morning here on Saturday morning.
In the morning, yeah. Wow, and a whole day.
Mm.
Well, anyway, Jeff, this was fun. Let's see if we actually get these cameras. I as we're talking about it, I'm going, maybe I'll hold off. I told Larry to get me one, but maybe I'm going to tell him, back off a little bit. I actually am more excited about what a GH5 might bring than what the 5D Mark IV did. I may just hold off on the whole thing, wait a bit, see it maybe at the end of the year, then do it if we have tax needs. And because the GH5 has to come out. I mean, we are now past the 2.5 year mark. They've got to do it.
And especially with Canon coming out with a new model, you would think, they don't want to be left behind, because no matter what you think of the model, there's going to be a lot of people who will like that. Yeah. And like the Canon, that GH4 is just a bit old now, isn't it?
And the video still looks probably better on the GH5, at least for general video. I tell you, I don't think the GH5 can shoot as nicely as that 5 DSR for an interview.
We ain't got a GH5, have we?
I have a GH4.
No, that's right.
I wish I had a GH5, but we'll see.
But as I said, I don't think I've got any problem holding off and waiting, because at $5,000 for the Canon 5D Mark IV, it's just
no. What you have to do is come over here to the US.
Go out and buy.
Well, you have to come here to the US, buy it here a little cheaper, and then just wear it on your neck. Say, I left with this.
Yeah, but that would be fine, but it'll still cost me the same, because to get $3,500 US, I'll still have to pay the conversion rate, which will nearly be the same anyway. So just have to wait until, and when the dollar gets back up to what it was before, the parity, then our prices will come down too as well. So.
Well, we may have a new president soon. One will probably raise our taxes enormously, and you will be paying quadruple for whatever you buy, and the other one may change it. We will see. Free trade versus more regulations. I'll go for free trade. It'll be interesting. Anyway, Jeff, well, you have a great weekend, and if you're watching, subscribe. Let us know what you think. Give us your feedback. For Tech Down Over, I'm Rick Zanani, joined by Jeff Blanchard. Have a great weekend. Take care, everyone. Thanks.
Bye for now.